Happy New Year! It is day one, the start of the human design new year. I know I've been talking about this the last couple weeks, that we are entering into really honestly some new energy, and there's some things I want you to consider. First of all, as we are entering the new year for human design, this is the solar new year, or as Ra called it, the Rave New Year. The Lunar New Year is actually happening next week on the 29th. But this is an energy that is bringing us into actually the fourth quarter of human design cyclical year, or the yearly cycle. So I want you to understand a couple things. While this is the human design new year, the Rave New Year, we are entering this new 2025 already still steeped in Q4 of what we've been moving through. And so we're still in kind of a pre-season before it's really time to start cranking things up, to start planting the right seeds and putting some new things in motion. And so with that being said, us being in Q4, still a time for some reflection. It's, as Karen likes to say, it's kind of that pre-season to planting. So you're kind of figuring out what you want right now. And I will say that there's a lot of things you can be doing to get ready. A lot of it right now is really calling on us to step into some of our own inner work. There's a lot of energy. And I will say, in the conversations that I'm having with people, there's a lot of energy already pushing on some relationships. There's a lot of energy connected into the fact that this is a 9-year in numerology, meaning we've got some things to let go of. We've got some things to release, and that could be outdated relationships. That could be toxic habits or habits that no longer serve us. So it could be our rituals, our habits, our discipline. What we did before is not what we're going to need moving into this new energy. It could be shedding layers of your own identity or closing cycles of your own inner healing and the work that you're doing right now. And so I don't want you to rush this. I want you to recognize that we are, as the new year starts, the new year always starts in human design when the sun moves into gate 41. And so over the course of the year, the sun moves through every gate in the hexagram. So the 64 hexagrams, we cycle through all of that. And it always starts with gate 41, and it always, moves in the same progression. And it's about every 5.5, 6 days that we see ourselves moving into that new energy. And so we are starting the year right now in the energy of gate 41. And so I want to talk a little bit, because I am going to start doing some more energy forecasts. I think us getting ourselves aligned. And so whether or not this is defined in your chart, and so when you look at gate 41, you are looking at the energy that's actually in your root center. So it's actually the very bottom gate in your root center. So if you're looking at your root center here, I'll show you my chart. If you are looking at your root center, gate 41 is this little guy right here. And you can see on my chart, don't mind all the other nonsense, you can see on my chart that it's not defined. That doesn't mean that I am not. And so I want to talk about that a little bit, because if you have it defined, this energy is going to feel very familiar to you. And you might even notice how people are reflecting that energy back right now, because right now it's an energy we all have access to, especially if you are not defined in this area. You are going to experience the energy of this. You are going to feel it. You are going to absorb it. You are going to bring it in and amplify it. And it is the energy of what's known as the patient dreamer. And it's the energy around fantasy and imagination. And so what this means is, this is the period of time right now. This is the pre-season. It's the prequel to what we're about to engage in for the rest of 2025. It's getting us ready. And so we need to be in a deep space of visualizing and connecting to the dreams and the fantasies we have for what is possible and the potential for what we're moving into as we usher in this new era and a new level of consciousness. That being said, notice how I said it was the patient dreamer. And this is where some of us are being challenged right now. Yes, it's the time to explore all that's possible. It's the time to dream, like really sit in white space, to daydream, to fantasize, to explore a whole nother level of what's available for you as you move closer and closer into God consciousness, as you move closer and closer into the gifts and the truth of what you are here to put into the world. We get to play in that. And so this is a really delicious opportunity to like play in the possibilities and potentials. I've been doing a lot of reading right now, a lot of spiritual literature, a lot of getting myself sort of prompted and some catalysts coming in for my own creativity. So it's this play space of wonder, awe, curiosity, dreaming, fantasy, and the challenge is that it's requiring and asking that we be patient. It is not, ooh, I have an idea and I need to go put it into motion. I need to go hit the ground running and I need to get shit going. No, it's the, ooh, I have an idea. How might that work? What if, and you start playing with all the extrapolations and you start playing with all the possibilities and you start visualizing and connecting to what's possible. It's not an action taking energy. It is a, ooh, sit and marinate. It is a, ooh, delicious discovery. It's a, ooh, what if I allowed myself to do that? What if all rules were thrown away? What if I stopped shrinking myself and living by everybody else's expectations of who the fuck they think I should be? What if in such a beautiful way that I actually want you to even change that what if into a powerful imagine if. This is a call right now to wake up your imagination and start to dream and fantasize and play in the possibilities. So it's the imagine if everything as I've always known it was just a bunch of bullshit, which, and let's be real, it is. This is all an illusion we live in, and it's a lot of it's a mental construct that's not real that we have created for ourselves. Yet we have this opportunity to be like, imagine if I went full out this year in delivering my gifts without fucking caring about what anybody else thinks. Hard stop. Imagine if I let my voice be as strong as it needed to be. And I chose when and how I wanted to use it, that I didn't follow some prescription that I got to show up every day on social media and it looks like this. Fuck that. I get to start to listen in a much deeper capacity to my strategy, my authority, and the way that decisions feel aligned for me. Imagine if I gave myself full permission to be the freaking weird, wild, radical fucking unicorn I was here to be. And I let myself dance to the dance that keeps coming through. I think about Wayne Dyer, who said repeatedly, don't die with your music still inside of you. Imagine if I let that music guide me. And I want to offer the same to you. So I want to give you some things to think about as we are starting the new year in Q4. So Q4 is a recalibration period. It is an opportunity to look at everything that happened last year, especially the last quarter or the current quarter that we're in, and really assess and evaluate what worked, what didn't work, what you want to carry forward, and what the hell needs to be let go of. And we are in a year 9 in numerology, which is all about completion and ending cycles. And so we need to get really honest about what serves us and what doesn't. And we are being asked to strip away a lot right now. So this recalibration period is not one to rush. A lot of us had some shit show stuff going on last year, myself included, and a couple dark souls of the night, dark nights of the soul kind of situations that were going on that we still got to clear out some residual crap that's kind of hanging around and lingering. And I will tell you, and I know I mentioned this on the last 2 videos, I had stuff that got stuck in my body, right? Like this is stuff that got really stuck in my body, things that were not serving me anymore. And so I want you to think about, imagine if you let that go. Imagine if you tapped into the energy of asking yourself what needs to be completed so that I can be fully in my own creative power. And so, like I said, the challenge right now is to use your imagination as a source of creativity, as a catalyst and stand in a space to be patient, that it is not necessarily the time to put that into action. I get we are talking about a gate. The energy of gate 41 lives in that root center. So for those of you, especially if this is an undefined gate and you have an undefined root center, there is an amplification of pressure to get things going. That when ideas come in, and if you've got an open head center as well, this is going to be amplified for you, because not only do you have this pressure in your mind to figure things out, to take inspiration and do something with it. And then if you've got the open ajna, your ajna is like, okay, what are we supposed to do with this? How is this supposed to be something? How am I certain that this is the thing I'm supposed to be focused on? And we start to jam ourselves up because we allow that pressure that now is amplified because this gate 41 is in play. We start to say, oh my God, I've got these ideas in my imagination and I got to do something with it. And there's this sense of false urgency that is taking you out of the need to just really play in what's catalyzing in your imagination right now. This is an opportunity to really start to tease out what you want to manifest and call in for 2025, and that you need to understand that there is infinite possibilities, that there's an abundance of potential we can call forward, but we need to stay connected to it in a way that actually grounds us, and it feels like we need to be a little patient right now. So this is the opportunity to play in the potentials, play in what is kind of firing up your imagination. A great time to journal right now. It's a great time to really start to just visualize all of the ways things could be done, and know that divine timing is coming for you to really ratchet that up and put that into motion, if that is the thing that is aligned for you. Because especially if you have that open head and open ajna, every idea that passes your mind, I know this, I have a wide open head in ajna, so I have to keep reminding myself this. Every inspiration that I have and everything that externally gets my sacral going, ooh, doesn't necessarily mean it's aligned for me to put it into motion or to do something with it. And it's one of the reasons, through my emotional authority, I have to ride this wave over time. And 50% of you, 50% of the population has an emotional authority. So if you've got that open head and potentially open ajna, and you've got emotional authority, give yourself time to play with this. Trust in your intuitive sense of knowing when divine timing is calling to you, because one of the things that I would offer to you is that when things show up and you get that shiny squirrel moment that's like, woo, I want you to ask yourself, does this really light me up? Yes. Especially if you're a generator type, get that sacral going. If you're a projector, speak it out loud and ask yourself some open-ended questions. Manifestors, trust your intuitive knowing. You have a very different wiring and reflectors. Really is kind of asking yourself, does this feel right? And you're going to need a lot of time to probably bring some new things to fruition. But for you sacral types in particular, generators and mani-gens, I want you to really think about, does this light me up? And do I have energy for it now? Is now the right time to do this? Or do I need to put this over here and kind of keep playing and marinating and contemplating and let it sort of matriculate and allow myself to be guided, that when the timing is right, I will absolutely know what and how to put it into motion. And so I want to offer you that there is this patience coming through. There's going to be a lot of ideas. There's going to be a lot of energy that's starting to build. It's that amplification of adrenalized pressure. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to do something with it now. Now, if timing's right, absolutely do something with it. But for most of you, it's going to be a call to just create some stillness, to create a space where you're still in that recalibration period and you're closing out this last quarter, because come February 4th, we move into the new year for human design. And so that energy, February 3rd, February 4th, we are moving into an energy that starts to then call us to plant the seeds for what we want to be reaping and harvesting in 2025. And I would say, in light of some of the other videos I've done, be mindful, there's going to be a lot going on February and March. There's kind of a small window to do some really big things in February, but a lot of what's coming through is asking us to kind of test some things out, play with things, create some beta experiences so that when we get over this very fiery, very tumultuous period, we can be ready to really expand and go big come the second quarter, well, moving into the second quarter as we go into April and May. And so just being mindful of that as we look at the current energetic forecast and the energy that's currently at play. And some of you might even be feeling this a lot, where it's just like, why do I feel so kind of like, oh, it's because it's asking you to just wait, to just allow yourself to expand into the possibilities and the potentials of where your imagination can go. And so the call to action is imagine if. Imagine if, and really prompt that catalyzing energy to wake up your imagination to play in a bigger space. Because honestly, I don't care what your type is, manifest or generate or not. We really need to create space to visualize before we just jump into action. And for it looks different for each type, but I want you to recognize that we oftentimes we get an inspiration and then it's like, boom, we're off to the races. And we miss this really juicy, important step in the middle that says, how do I visualize this unfolding? How do I visualize my role in this and the energy that I'm connected to? How do I visualize the bigger imagine if and the bigger potentials versus just the way I've always done this? And if you've got the defined head or ajna, the fixed mindset that says 1+1 is 2, it might be calling forth a new equation and to give yourself room and bandwidth for that. So there is a space of patience that I want you to think about. And so the Earth right now, as the sun is moving into gate 41 or has moved into gate 41, the Earth is really the energy of leadership. It's a gate 31. And so what grounds you in this is trusting that you will know what and how to lead when, again, the timing is right. This leadership is not one you assert on other people. This leadership is really drawing you in from a place of service. And it is likely that people are calling you out to share your wisdom and the way that you can guide them through various things. And there's a bit of a response. There's an energy that is, it feels projected, that you are not here to assert yourself as the alpha. You are actually here to be recognized and promoted into roles that can take that ownership and take that charge. And so again, there's a bit of this dance of patience. There's a bit of energy around surrender right now that says, I trust that when my leadership is needed, it's going to be called out. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be sharing your truth right now. You can be sharing your wisdom in the light of what you're experiencing or have experienced, and keep prompting opportunities for people to connect so that when the time is right, they see you as that authority and they see you as that person who really has the expertise and wisdom to help guide them. So there's this energy of this infinite possibility, imagining all of the potentials that we can bring forward and grounding yourself in a sense that says, I trust my leadership is going to be ready. So you can be preparing. Like I said, I'm in a lot of literature right now. I'm in a lot of study right now because I feel the call of what's going to be asked of me to come out of some of this cocooning that I've been doing. And I want to be ready for it. I know that my leadership is here to be of service. And so I ask myself every day, as my imagination is being catalyzed in this beautiful gate 41 energy, how may I serve? How am I being called to serve right now? And some of it right here is an example. I felt called to have a video to talk about the energy of the first day of the new year in human design. And so what does that mean for us as we explore our own ability to lead align as fuck through the lens of human design? This is what I want to bring to you. And this is what felt aligned for me, even when I'm still kind of in and out, not fully engaging on a mass capacity in the world right now. I'm still kind of got one foot out in my cocoon because it doesn't feel right, because I'm playing with some new ideas and some new ways that I get to show up that are feeling more aligned for my own journey and evolution. And I'm offering that you give yourself space to do that as well. So I want you to think about a couple questions you can ask yourself. One is, if you're a generator type, the yes, no, do I own my own creative power? And then I want you to think about how that shows up for you. If you're a non-sacral types or projectors, reflectors, manifestors, I want you to consider how you own or how you know when you own your own creative power. And then how can you deepen your own rituals and practices to honor yourself and what you need in order to activate that creative power. And so I want you to think about looking at your existing rituals, your existing practices. Again, what needs to be closed out in order to make space for the new? It's really hard for us to increase our capacity and create spaciousness when we're still tethered in things that are lower vibration or lower frequency that no longer serve us. And so the opportunity is to really be honest and take some inventory around where and what in my practices and rituals do I need to change things or let go of things in order to create more spaciousness and capacity for my own creative power and for a place for me to dream and play in the potentials and possibilities right now. So with that, I am excited. I know this year is going to be a bit of a shit show. It's been a shit show for the last couple. It's going to be fiery. There's going to be a lot going on. And there's a really beautiful way we can align with that when we understand the energy that's moving around us. We understand our own design, and we have the tools and the opportunities to navigate in a way that keeps us in flow rather than creating any more resistance or trying to push or pull or make shit happen. And so it's okay to still be in the slowdown right now. It's okay to be patient right now and to trust. We are really going to be tested in our own capacity to have faith and surrender this year. And this is a prime example right now. So with that, this is Candy. Please let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts, questions, or what's showing up for you. Otherwise, I'll see you soon as I talk about more of what's going on with the energetic forecast around us.